What's up, 2K crew? It's your boy Turbo and 2Ks coming to you on Sunday. This is episode 51. Our 1 year anniversary is next week, brother.
Coming up.
Coming up. And, it's always the week before, or in between the Super Bowl is always kind of boring. So you're kind of looking for content. And we got some content dropped in our lap that you never want to see. And just hours ago, found out that Kobe Bryant and his daughter and I believe two other people were in a helicopter accident, and unfortunately none of them walked away. So I just want to take a big minute here and say our condolences to the Bryant family and the others involved. His daughter was with him. They were going to, if the story I read was correct, was going to one of her basketball games.
Yep.
So hearts and prayers are with all you guys. It's not an easy thing to open the show with or even talk about, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to shed some light on who Kobe was, what he meant to the game, and then after retirement, what he was starting to become. Mm-hmm. And before we get into that, the shout out to our YouTube crew. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hit that subscribe, hit the bell, and give us a comment. If you're on iTunes, drop us a 5-star review and a comment, and if you do, we'll read it on the show. So now that we got that out of the way, even though it's a shameless plug in the middle of a kind of an important thing, it's now 5:39, and for probably the past 3 hours, 4 hours, that's nothing but my Facebook feed has been is, people sharing, memories, whether it's good, and for the ones that are posting bad things, the man just died.
Yeah.
Calm the fuck down. This is not one of those things that you need to start a Facebook war on just to look important. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And I saw a few of them and just moved past it because this isn't the time and the place.
No.
And regardless of what one of them said, well, all he did was bounce a basketball and get rape accusations. No, he actually did a lot more than that.
Yeah.
He did a lot more than that. You're just a basketball hater, and for you to do that to anyone, let alone someone, the man just died.
You're not even a basketball hater. You're just a hater on life, period. I mean, were there some allegations that came out about Kobe very, very early in his career? Yes, there were. But I mean, where he was at when he ended his career and what he did he was a basketball icon.
Yeah.
In his time while he was playing, and then was maybe even more powerful after he was done playing, and
yes,
what he was doing and what he was doing for kids in LA, not only in LA but all around the world that were
I remember his jersey sales when he was playing were 1, 2, or 3 all over the world. And we all know that, in China and all that, there's a lot more NBA fans than there are even in the United States. So amongst all the Yao Ming jerseys and everything else that were going for sale, Kobe's was still number one and number 2.
And he was big. I mean, he was big time in Europe also, because a lot of people don't remember, but he was actually born in Europe, and he lived
in Greece,
in
wasn't it?
Italy for a long time, for a lot of his childhood before he came to Philadelphia and went to high school and went from there. But I mean, it's kind of speaking for this is tough for me to even talk about today. I mean, I look back to when I was a little kid and just getting involved in playing basketball, and like I said earlier, Kobe was an icon, and for people, a lot of the friends that I grew up with and people my age, we used to pretend that we were Kobe. We wanted to be Kobe someday. And it's just, I don't know. When I first heard this news, the first thing that popped in my head is it's got to be fake.
Yeah, me too.
It's got to be fake news. It has to be. And then you start seeing it more and more all over, on Facebook, Twitter. It's not fake.
No, unfortunately, it's not. And you're very right. People your age, I mean, it was with me, it was Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wanted to be Jordan. We were all wearing, 23 and sticking our tongue out while we're shooting, and Kobe took some of those same likenesses and ran with them, and probably became just as big of an icon. I'm not going to say bigger, because Jordan was, what he did at the time was, I'm not even saying basketball wise, but culturally, he was saying, he was having white kids say, "I want to be like Mike," and Kobe took that torch and ran with it. Was he better than Jordan? Like I said, he took it and ran with it. Jordan built the foundation. Kobe just continued on with it. And then from, Kobe to LeBron, and then LeBron to whomever. Maybe Luka, maybe some Giannis, maybe someone that's not even in the league yet.
Yep.
So what Kobe meant to the game, and like you and I were talking before we started recording, to me, when Kobe was playing, it was like the kind of same relationship I have with Derek Jeter and Tom Brady. I hated when they won all the time. And it wasn't until I got older and realized that it's not what they did on the field, it's how, or on the court in this case. It's the hard work, the dedication, the preparation, and just the mindset to not lose. That, to me, for anyone that does that for an extended amount of time, the way those 3 or 4 people I just listed did, you got to give kudos.
Oh yeah.
And for, what do you say, it was 41?
41.
And with him, and LeBron, and even if the guys that came straight out of high school, now this may change, we don't get to see that there was a lot of flops. But there's some that just stepped right on the court and they belonged. He was one. Obviously, LeBron was one. And I'm sure there's a few others that I'm skipping past here. Tracy McGrady was another one. They were just built for it.
Yep.
Would it have been cool to see him under Coach K for a year or two? Absolutely. But you never, and when those two met, when they were doing the Olympic stuff, they obviously meshed really well. So, but like I said, he took the baton from Jordan and ran with it, and made basketball. I mean, you could argue if it wasn't for Kobe, basketball wouldn't be in the spot that it is now. Every one of these guys, I guarantee, that are playing either idolized LeBron or Kobe growing up. And I guarantee, there were pictures of Tyson Chandler, and a lot of these guys were finding this out live at the game that they're warming up for. And there's a lot of folks that said, NBA should have canceled all the games today. If you were playing early, go ahead and play it, because the people are already in the stands. You're already there. The games tonight, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm just saying that for logistics. And so otherwise, you're going to, even though there shouldn't be, you're going to get more backlash saying, people that took time off of work or whatever that are already here. Just logistics at that
There's
point.
to me, there's really no right way to go about it. No. I mean, I guess I kind of look at it as being a fan of Kobe. I think it's pretty safe to say that if Kobe could say something right now, he would want them to play.
Absolutely.
That's Kobe's mindset. You're talking about a guy that played through injuries his entire career. A guy that towards the tail end of his career had a gruesome Achilles injury that would have ended a lot of players. Would have ended their career right there on the spot. But he went through all the rehab. He went through all the training to put himself back out there. And what did he do in his last game? Go out and score 60 points or 63,
61 or something. Like that,
yeah. So he's incredible. I mean, he was an icon, and we talked a lot about Derek Jeter, as far as him being an icon for the sport and playing 20 years in New York, maybe one of the toughest places to play baseball. Well, Kobe played for 20 years in L.A. That's the toughest place to play basketball.
Yeah, and for the longest time, that the Staples Center was his. He's the only player that has 2 jerseys retired in the Staples Center.
Yeah. And look at some of the greats that have played for that franchise.
Yeah.
Before him, and this is it's a tough one to talk about. It's a tough day for all of sports.
Exactly, and I think kind of the most ironic thing of the whole situation is last night, LeBron passed him for third all time on the scoring list in Philly, where Kobe was basically from, and he was giving Kobe all the props and stuff after the game. The Lakers lost the game, by the way.
And Kobe was congratulating him on Instagram, Twitter, and all them last night at the same time. So
I mean, and I'm totally joking, but it seems like the Clintons are involved in this somehow, going from the recent happenings last night to this, which I know is completely ridiculous, and I'm joking, but yeah, and we can sit here and talk about all day his career accomplishments, what he meant to the game, but I think when he just started scratching the surface of how great and how amazing he's going to be as a business person and as a mogul, and just getting his he was wanting to write children's books and do a whole bunch of cool stuff. And if you guys have not, go on YouTube and search Patrick Bet, B-E-T, David. I know it's a weird name, but he does an interview, like it's about an hour-long interview with Kobe. Completely off the cuff, unedited, and it's absolutely amazing. And it's probably, go back 3 months or so, and I'm sure if you Google Patrick Bet David Kobe, it'll just pop right up. Take a minute, or take the time and watch that interview, because it will, if you're on the fence about Kobe, it will change your mind. It'll blow your mind. And for those of you that really didn't follow the interview, but that was the interview where he said where if Shaq would have dropped weight and been in better shape, they would have won 6 more titles. So that's where that comes from. But it's an hour-long interview, and it is extremely good interview. So guys, look that up. If you don't know, if you haven't watched it in a while, go watch it again. Because I think that if Kobe if this would have never happened and he just lived a normal life, what he did off the court would have trumped what he did on the court tenfold, by all means. So 2Ks, what is your favorite Kobe moment?
Oh man. Well, the first one that comes to mind is the 81-point game in 2006,
which ironically was the anniversary that was just recently.
I mean, that's the second most points ever scored in the game. Obviously, Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game.
If I'm not mistaken, he sat most of the fourth quarter. So I watched part of that game, and there's no doubt in my mind if he would have played the whole fourth quarter, 19 other points, he would have just stumbled upon him.
Another moment that comes to mind, kind of getting later into his career, in 2010, when it was like when he kind of just carried that team and won the championship that year. And that's post. Shaq's not there anymore, and some of those big names that he came up with there for years were gone. And
him and Brian, was it Brian Scott?
And it's not. I'm not trying to take. They had Pau Gasol. I mean, he had good players around him too, but it was kind of, it's you watch the NBA today, and it's you see a lot of teams forming the big three, and LeBron kind of started that with the Miami Heat. Kobe never had a big three.
The Celtics kind of started that.
Yes,
LeBron was the one that kind of made it public that he wanted these guys. But yeah.
But it was, and like last season was a breath of fresh air because Toronto had one guy, and they had a lot of really good players around Kawhi, but Kobe never teamed up. There was no. He
tried.
Yeah,
he tried. Wasn't it the? Damn it.
Well, they shut down the Chris Paul trade.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yep,
they vetoed that.
David Stern did that.
Yep,
which that could have changed a lot of things. Not saying that he's not the greatest player ever, but at the time that was one of the big things is that Laker team didn't have a point guard at all, and that was back in his prime.
Yeah,
and before the stupid State Farm commercials.
Yeah, I it's all pretty fresh in mind right now, so it's hard to kind of reflect back on all the special moments because I know there's plenty more.
A ton of them.
I'm kind of, instead of just picking out one, I'm kind of just rambling on a bunch of different ones.
That's fine.
But I think of I I think nowadays the NBA All-Star Game is kind of a joke. And you look in back when Kobe was in his prime, and you had LeBron coming up, and you had Michael Jordan at the tail end when he was with the Wizards, and some of those All-Star games were fucking badass to watch.
Yeah, because they actually cared.
You're playing some iso ball where Kobe Bryant's calling out Michael Jordan, or Kobe Bryant's calling out LeBron James to come guard him. They want to go one-on-one. It wasn't just fast break alley oops and shit back then.
Well, now it's just a 3-point shooting.
It was. We were watching the best of the best basketball players in the entire world, and they were calling each other out on the main stage and going one-on-one with them. And that was when the All-Star Game was badass to watch.
My biggest memories of Kobe was when he was young, still rocking the number 8 with the mini fro. Right when him and Shaq got partnered up, and it was cool to see, almost like a big brother, little brother kind of scenario. And of course, if you were a basketball fan at that time and place, if Shaq and Kobe could have coexisted and not been so alpha, each one of them, Kobe's 5 titles would have been 8 or 9. But part of that alpha being him is what made him great. That's what made him the Mamba. That's what made him, such a vicious person on the floor. He wanted to shit down your neck every fucking possession. He wanted to own you. It was the same thing with Jordan. And very few players.
Well, those are to me the only 2 players that we've ever seen that have that mentality
all the time.
All the time.
LeBron can do it for 2 or 3 games, then you don't see it again for another week. Jordan and Kobe hated to fucking lose. And I can only imagine if there was a close game and you were in that locker room after a game with those two. I would hate to be in that locker room. I remember losing close games with Coach Small, and we lost because we messed up. Wow, practicing without a basketball fucking sucks. I can only imagine. And granted, they can't make you practice, but just if they're gonna shit down their opponent's throat, wow, what would they do to a teammate? Yes, Kobe Bryant, you will be missed, brother. I know you were a very big fan of the show, but the world's not going to be the same without you. And like I said, our thoughts and prayers go out to your family as well as the others involved in this.
Yeah, and just another thing on Kobe too, real quick, is I really like listening to peers, to other players and other coaches, and I've got the chance to hear from a lot of different players today and coaches, and not that I really needed to hear it today to know it, because I've heard it all throughout Kobe's career. But you always hear the guys that talk about Kobe as 2 hours before practice, Kobe's already finished up his 2-hour one person workout that he's already went through, and we consider him one of the best of all time. I mean, and that is what it is. But when your best player and the best player in the game at the time is also the hardest worker, that's what makes an icon, a special player like what Kobe is, and that's why there's only he's in a conversation that only 3 or 4 players in our entire lives have ever been in that conversation, and there's a reason why he's like that. And then the same thing could be said for Jordan. The same thing can be said for LeBron. But it's just
I think just sums it up.
Yep.
I mean, there's really nothing else more we can say.